Hello, everyone. This is Miss Kopak. This is word work lesson number 12, our final word work lesson of the summer reading program. This week, we have been reviewing the R-controlled syllable. Remember, your teacher might have used this hand signal to represent the R-controlled syllable. And an R-controlled syllable is when we have a vowel, or it could be two vowels, and there is an R right afterwards. And we often call this the bossy R because the vowel sound gets changed because of the R being there. So the R changes the vowel sound. And here are some common vowel R or R-controlled vowels: A-R, O-R, I-R, E-R, and U-R. A-R sounds like R. O-R sounds like or. I-R, U-R, and E-R sound like And so you can use these pictures to help you if you forget what the sounds are. In Seesaw, there is a link that you can download these posters and print them off if you have a printer at home. Today, we are going to look at some multisyllabic words that have R-controlled vowels. So just like before, whenever I come to a word that I don't know, I should first find the vowels. There they are. And now I want to look a little closer. Look for some syllables. And I notice this A has an R right after it. So this is going to be an R-controlled vowel. And I notice in between our R-controlled vowel and the letter I, there is one consonant. When there's one consonant separating the R-controlled vowel and the next vowel, we usually separate right after the R. So my first syllable would be gar, and then my next syllable is lick. Gar, lick, garlic. My next word has a U and an E, and I notice this E has an R, so that's an R-controlled vowel. And in between our two vowels, we have two consonants. When this happens, I'm usually going to separate right in between the two consonants. So here I have blub, burr, blub, burr, blubber. My next one, I have a U, a O, and an I. I notice the O and the I are right next to each other. That's a vowel team. They're going to stay together. And then my U has an R. So they're going to stay together. In between, I have one consonant. So again, just like the word garlic, I'm going to separate right after the R. So now I have turmoil. Turmoil, turmoil. So I just did the words garlic, blubber, and turmoil. I was able to read them accurately by separating them into syllables. Let's try some more. So again, start with my vowels, and I notice we have AR and we have ER. So we have two R-controlled vowels. So one consonant in between, so I'm going to separate right after the R. And I have bar, burr, barber. Next we have O and I, and the O has an R with it, so they're going to stay together. And my I is right afterwards, so we should separate right after our R. So I have florist, florist. Next we have E, I, and E. So here is ER, they're going to stay together. And I notice I have an IR, but there's an E there. So instead of this being an R-controlled vowel, this is actually the silent E syllable. In between, I have two consonants, so I'm going to separate. So we have pers, pyre, perspire, perspire. Here we have AR and a silent E with the L. So notice this is consonant LE. So we got to keep consonant LE together. Startle, startle. Here we have U, I, and the U has an R with it. We're going to keep them together. Turnip, turnip. And down at the bottom, we have U and I. The UR need to stay together because it's an R-controlled vowel. In between, I have C and H. We're not going to separate these. CH is a common digraph that we see in lots of words like change and chip. So CH should stay together. So we can separate right after the R, and we have chin, urchin. So we just did the words barber, florist, perspire, startle, turnip, urchin. Press the pause button on your device and try reading these words on your own. Pause now. Let's try rereading these words together. Barber, florist, perspire, startle, turnip, urchin. Let's try a few more. Here I have an I and an E, and the E has an R with it, so they're going to stay together. And we will separate the two consonants. So here we have whisper, whisper, whisper. A and I, AR is going to stay together. Separate our consonants. Parse, nip, parsnip, parsnip. And we have O and O. This O has an R, so they will stay together. Torso, torso. So we just did whisper, parsnip, and torso. Press the pause button on your device and try rereading these words on your own. Pause now. Let's reread them together. Whisper, parsnip, torso. When you get back into Seesaw, you are going to see 12 multisyllabic words, and you will need to separate them into syllables and use the microphone to read them aloud. All of the words will have an R-controlled vowel, so make sure to look for it. I can't wait to see your work. Gotta go, Buffalo.